You invest in the latest marketing tech, set up an automated campaign, and hit send. It feels incredible in the moment. You're saving time and reaching thousands of people. But instead of generating leads, you might have just triggered an invisible, massive liability. Real estate agents are under constant operational pressure to scale up their lead volume. To meet that demand, it makes logical sense to rely on automated tech stacks to squeeze every possible conversion out of a finite market. But the courts do not view automated outreach as a clever growth hack. In a recent case, Garvey v. Gatan, a local realtor used a platform to scrape contact info for expired listings directly off the MLS. She then sent out thousands of ringless voicemails, messages that dropped directly into a server without the phone ever ringing. She fell for what the industry calls the MLS myth. It is a completely false assumption that a homeowner is legally consenting to telemarketing simply because their phone number is attached to a public property listing. They are absolutely not. This diagram maps the exact sequence that turns a common shortcut into a legal disaster. The agent scrapes the MLS data, fires off the automated ringless voicemails, but completely skips the crucial step of gathering prior consent. That specific sequence resulted in a class action representing nearly 2,000 calls and up to $2.97 million in potential damages. The Telephone Consumer Protection Act, or TCPA, is entirely unforgiving here. The law explicitly demands express prior consent. You cannot skip this step and hope the tech protects you. There is actually a bizarre historical coincidence in our legal system regarding this specific case. For over 40 years, whenever a case carrying the name Garvey reaches the courts, it ends up setting incredibly rigid, unforgiving rules. Back in 2001, MLBPA v. Garvey defined the absolute unbreakable finality of labor arbitration involving Steve Garvey. Now, Garvey v. Gatan is doing the exact same thing for consumer privacy. The historical pattern holds. Fail to respect strict procedural boundaries, and the legal system will bring the hammer down. The laws governing these boundaries are fracturing into a massive state-by-state patchwork. A court in Texas might let you defend an automated call if you can prove oral consent, while other states strictly demand written consent. But across every single jurisdiction, having zero consent is universally illegal. Major brokerages are reading these rulings and completely shutting down their risk exposure. eXp Realty recently issued a definitive compliance rule to its agents, and the language leaves no room for interpretation. No consent, no automation. If the old playbook of high-volume automated outreach will drain your bank account, how do you actually win listings and scale your business? Attempting to force efficiency through mass automation without verified consent is no longer a viable operational strategy. It is a straight line to catastrophic financial liability. When businesses realize outbound tolling is a legal minefield, they often pivot to a quieter tactic. They decide to quietly track prospects when they visit their website. This creates an invisible inbound data trap. Agents install common tools like the Metapixel or Google Analytics on their sites to measure ad performance and capture lead behavior. Plaintiffs are now aggressively suing companies over these exact tracking tools under laws like the California Invasion of Privacy Act, or CIPA. Their legal argument is that having a tracking pixel on your site secretly intercepts user behavior and shares it with third-party tech giants. In the eyes of these lawsuits, that is the legal equivalent of wiretapping your own customers. This table, the efficacy shift, breaks down the current extraction models side by side. Look at the inputs, scraping the MLS or running hidden tracking pixels. The immediate outcomes are instant reach and easy retargeting. But when we factor in the legal trade-offs, the model collapses. Those inputs directly expose you to strict TCPA liability and CIPA wiretapping claims. You might eventually win one of these pixel cases if you can prove the raw data was encrypted and unreadable by an ordinary person. But reaching that technical victory requires fighting a long, draining jurisdictional chess match in federal court. Any operational system reliant on extraction are abandoning high-risk extraction and pivoting entirely to a high-trust posture of attraction. The first pillar of this strategy requires using macroeconomic intelligence. Instead of buying software to spam thousands of unqualified numbers, you analyze market data to pinpoint localized, high-intent buyers. This map of the Los Angeles area illustrates exactly how that works. After the city passed Measure ULA, a 5.5% transfer tax on sales over $5 million, building permits dropped 40% in the center. That tax penalty pushed that capital directly south, causing a massive commercial boom in the neighboring South Bay region. Industrial vacancy in hubs like El Segundo is currently 3.4%. You have companies like Varda Space Industries moving into old toy factories to manufacture drugs in microgravity. Identifying these hyper-competitive macro shifts allows you to target precise opportunities without needing a single automated voicemail. Spotting the market shift is the first step. To win contracts against companies manufacturing drugs in orbit, you need a second pillar: digital real estate. Procurement officers and high-net-worth clients demand what they call living capability statements. They need definitive 4K video evidence of your actual expertise and your personality before they trust you. Operationally, you create this by filming long-form interviews in an ultra-high-resolution studio. Filming once in 4K solves format fatigue, preventing you from constantly reshooting content for different apps. Because 4K resolution is so dense with data, you can simply crop the center of that wide frame to create vertical clips for mobile platforms. You maintain total visual quality while dominating multiple platforms from a single recording session. Instead of risking lawsuits with outbound spam, this approach builds a 24/7 inbound trust engine. Your visual assets pre-sell your authority to decision makers before you ever sit down for a meeting. Scalability does not come from buying software to spam harder. True leverage comes from doing the rigorous upfront work to become an undeniable, localized authority. Forcing business efficiency through sheer volume is a mathematically flawed strategy. The low conversion rates do not justify the massive legal exposure. Relying on a fragmented, unpredictable state-by-state legal landscape to shield your outbound campaigns is a reckless gamble. The boundaries are absolute. Federal and state courts are actively reviewing these cases and ruthlessly punishing sloppy, blanket automation policies. Let's map your strategic choices onto this quadrant chart. The vertical axis measures lead quality and conversion. The horizontal axis measures your legal safety. Extraction tactics like MLS scraping and ringless voicemails fall straight into the bottom left quadrant. The temporary dopamine hit of sending 10,000 messages is paired with low conversion and catastrophic legal risk. Attraction strategies live in the top right quadrant. Macro targeting and digital authority deliver high-intent leads with zero regulatory friction. This is the definitive target profile for a modern competitor. Abandon the bottom left tactics. Take the budget you were spending on mass outreach software and invest it directly into building visual proof of your expertise. Look at where the technology is heading. AI voice generators and deep fakes are making it infinitely cheaper for bad actors to spam consumers. As that automated noise floods the market, the legal system will only crack down harder. Mass outreach is becoming completely toxic to consumers. In a market suffocating under automated spam, sending a pre-recorded voicemail proves nothing. The ultimate competitive advantage and your ultimate legal defense is doing the hard work to prove you are a legitimate, high-value human expert.